Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're zooming in on the apparent chaos of dysfunction that is really experienced in a covert narcissistic family system. And this is in response to a viewer who had inquired for more information about narcissistic parenting styles and how they impact the family dynamics. And I'd like to focus in on this topic in a number of series of videos because I think it's a great question that she presented. And the first is really that of the covert narcissist and their lack of communication, lack of presentation of values, and really cold aloofness that they tend to present in the family, especially if you're dealing with a father figure. And because of this aloofness, this distance, it creates this chasm. It creates this divide, which creates a feeling of separation and really one of inequality, where the covert narcissist father seems to be all perfect, all knowing, a god of essence, as another client had alluded to, that the parents, narcissistic parents, can be almost revered as if they're godlike, all-knowing, all-caring, all-providing, and they don't have an experience, or they haven't been permitted to experience their own personal power as an individual, to be forthright, autonomous, self-dependent, and really industrious and productive. They're not permitted to experience this because the parents are presented as being godlike and over-idealized. And in a covert parent, this chasm, this sort of gap that creates sort of a void or a vacuous or vacancy within the family dynamic also creates a source of chaos. So chaos, which means basically disorder, it basically means confusion. Chaos, which means it can be very complete confusion. When you talk about chaos, it's like a fire drill. There's chaos everywhere. There's lack of semblance of order. There's a lack of flow. And in physics, it essentially means behavior so unpredictable as to appear random, owing to great sensitivity to small changes in conditions. And when we first look at the origin of chaos, the word meaning of chaos, it comes from the French in the late 15th century, which denotes a gaping void or chasm, a formless, really primordial matter. French and the Greek chaos, which means vast chasm or void. So the Greek K-H-O-S, chaos, which meant vast chasm or void, and a chasm means a separating of land. It's a chasm, it's a divide, it's an opening, it's a separation, and this chasm is created by a narcissist covert parent. And so this void can be filled with all sorts of different moods, interpretation, behaviors, and generally chaos or dysfunction. And when we talk about dysfunction, we talk about a family system that isn't working well. It's not working consistently. It's not based on certain foundation of semblance of order, propriety, certain values which are guiding people cohesively. There's generally no consensus being sought. It's not a strength-based culture in that family, meaning people are in tune and desired to act in accordance, in alignment, and knowledge of their strengths. There is very much the opposite. It's very much the other side of the coin, where because of this chasm, because of this divide, this dissemblance of order, people really tend to turn in on themselves, feel like there's something wrong with themselves. The children then tend to pick up on this, and they absorb wrong messages from this lack or this void. They tend to interpret it as there's something wrong with them, there's something missing from them, they're operating without a structure, without a goal, oftentimes without a mentor, and they don't know where to find this mentor, so they oftentimes end up finding love in all the wrong places, or mentors in all the wrong places. If they're fortunate, they can then find mentors which are positive, and will give them guidance and direction and things that they're missing at their home. But oftentimes, what they're missing at home, they tend to be misdirected in life, and really be misdirected and not fulfill their destiny or their strengths in that self-autonomy, because they're basically sliding into the hands of those people who are going to victimize them for their neediness, or interpret them as being needy or soft, or not having the backbone or spine that they need, the strength that they need, the personal integrity, the foundation that they need to be productive. So it can be, it can cause a lot of alienation within that child. It can also cause parental alienation, where the child then turns on the parent, is very rebellious, and tends to alienate the parent, not listen to them, not feel like they're a person of value either, because the child hasn't felt like this person has given them any value, or hasn't been parental to them as needed. They're parenting by a distance, or they're teaching through absence, which is, it's leaving a child to their own devices, which children don't need to be left to their own devices. They're not teaching beings. They do need guidance and direction. So we can see this catapult into a lot of rebellious behavior, codependent behavior also. And codependent meaning that the children of this covert narcissist parents tend to feel like they enter into life not really knowing who they are, if that makes sense. They really haven't had their reality tested. They haven't been able to go through the learning cycle of trial and error, of experimentation and assessment of results. They haven't been permitted to have that reflection back from their parents. Someone with more knowledge, someone with more experience to help guide them, direct them, facilitate their learning and things of this nature. So we see a lot of people turning their backs on one another, and as a result of this chaos and a result of this covert chasm that is created. So but nonetheless, the child is going to be bonded to their parent. So they're bonded to this reticent, chaotic silence, which can cause them to create and internalize that gap within themselves, or that void within themselves, and feel like there's part of themselves that is just missing, or they don't really know themselves. So they feel a vacuousness inside, so they can really develop a lot of eating disorders, gambling disorders, addiction, substance abuse, things of this nature, to try to fill that void, to stimulate themselves, give them a sense of feeling, excitement and direction, which is, in place of reality. So they, and they eventually want to become clean of this later in life. They eventually want to cleanse themselves of this pain because it becomes so vacuous. Or, they just become stifled and kind of stuck in a very, a mediocre, non-productive growth cycle if they have repressed those feelings. And they just, accept their life with sort of this habit, habitual overeating, overstuffing, etc., gambling, addiction, and they become powerless over that. So I hope this does help in this very specific area, and I hope it sheds light on the impact of covert narcissist parenting on the family system and on children and their future legacy of development as well. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.